Mike from MyTekki here with another video on Microsoft Word. A little tip for you guys. I get a lot of people asking me on, how to do mail merges and how mail merges are so difficult and everything else. So I want to go ahead and show you guys an easy way to do a mail merge through Microsoft Word. Today we're going to go ahead and use a Word 2013. However, it works very similar on other versions of Word. So what we're going to do on 2013 is we just open up a brand new document. We're going to go up to the Mailings tab at the very top, and we're going to go under Start Mail Merge, and we're going to go, in this case we're going to do labels. So I'm going to select labels. Now, a lot of times you get these manufacturers who have labels out there, and you have, your different labels that you guys use. So after you do it the first time, so if you guys do, like, for example, 8160s or 5160s or whatever the labels that you guys use, the template should be preloaded in Microsoft Word itself. If it's not preloaded in Microsoft Word, you can always hit the new label button and add a template into it. So if you guys have some specialized printing company that you have letterheads on and the margins are just a slightly bit variant from their standard Avery templates or whatever, you can actually add that template in there. In this case, I went ahead and chose the label vendors, and I chose Avery US Letter, since we're in the United States, and it's an 8.5 by 11 sheet. And then you basically search through all the templates. Now, normally Avery has a number that's associated with the template. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead, and it would normally start you at the top, and I'm going to use 8160. So I just click at the very top, and I just type in 8160. And boom, it brings me right down to the 8160 template. Easy pill address labels, and they're 1 by 2.63 inches on an 8.5 by 11 sheet. So we're going to click OK, and then you have basically a standard broken down template that's segregated into 3 columns already for you. And then you just go up to the select recipients up at the very top, and then go to use an existing list, or you can type your own list. So if you just want to have a list and type it out, and you just want to type every single one out, you can do that. You can also go ahead, if you have like a global address book from your Outlook, you can use that as well. You can click on that and go find the group or the global address book that you're going to use. In this case, we're going to go ahead and say use an existing list, because I'm going to do it directly from a database. So I'm going to show you the most complex way, because we're going directly from a database. So I'll say use an existing list. And it's going to ask me all these different things, okay, about your SQL connections and all this. So I'm going to go ahead and delete my current connection that I have, because I did create that. And I'm just going to simply double click on new SQL Server connection. This is what you're going to do. So what you're doing is what they call an Odbc connection. So what is that in English? It's basically a low-level connection to your database that just can pull some generic queries from your database. So some generic information, basically. So we're going to go ahead and say new SQL Server connection. Double click on that. It's going to ask you what our server name is. So your IT provider should be able to provide you with this information, and a lot of times what they'll do is they'll just simply hook up your Windows user to be able to access that database for read-only, and be able to read that stuff from the database. So you would simply use Windows Authentication. I'm on a lab computer here, which is not connected to the domain, so I'm going to use the SQL authentication. So we're going to go and type in the server name. In this case, it's our SQL 301 box. And we're going to go ahead and use the following name. And I'm just going to use the SA because I'm lazy and I don't feel like using another user. So we got that SA in there. We're going to go and click on the next button. And it's going to ask us basically what database do you want to pull from. So this is the drop down up here. So because I'm logged in as SA, I can get to any database. Now, if your IT administrator has limited you down, then you should only see the databases that you have access to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to the YouTube demos database, and I'm going to select the employees, because I want to send out some gift cards or maybe a Christmas letter or whatever. So and I need to print some the labels for the packages that I'm sending out. So I'm going to go ahead and select employees. I'm going to say next. And it's going to say, okay, where do you want to store this and what do you want to call it? In this case, I'm just going to say that's fine with the name, and it's going to store it in the standard location by default, and that's fine with me. So I'm just going to hit finish. And that's basically storing the connection to the database. Now it's going to prompt you again for your password. Again, if you're using Windows Authentication, you would just use Windows NT Integrated Security. In my case, I'm using the SQL Authentication, so I'm going to retype my password in. And if I wanted to be able to save this so I don't have to retype that again anytime that I use this, what we call data source or data link, we can go ahead and hit that little checkbox right there, and it will keep our remembering of this data connection. In this case, I'm just going to go hit the OK button, which is now going to go ahead and give us a connection to that database and to that table of the employees. Maybe I typed the password wrong. Let's try it again. There you go. And so you're going to see that all this next record stuff, and you're not going to understand what it basically means. Now, leave that alone, basically. What that's basically saying is that after you finish with the one that you're editing up here in the upper left-hand corner, it's going to go to your next record in the database or in the CSV file or whatever you're using, and it's going to go to the next record and then produce that right here. The next record, even though it's visible on the screen, is actually an invisible value. So it just simply goes ahead and skips over into the next record and starts producing the same information that you put here, but dynamically for the next record. So let's see how that works. First off, I need to make sure that I match my fields correctly. So what I'm going to do is I've already selected my recipients. We can go to the edit recipient list and see if it actually mapped it already for me based upon the field names that it has. So we'll click on that, and we can see that, okay, look, employee ID, employee F name, employee L name, employee city. Okay, look, looking pretty good. I can actually see all the fields here. Everything's looking fine. I can filter this when I want to make sure. I can find a recipient, whatever I want to do. So we can go ahead and hit OK. And also, you can uncheck on the left-hand side here, and this would actually uncheck that record so that the record is no longer available. And it will not produce within your list. So if you wanted to filter out, let's say for example you're connecting to an employee's database or a client's database, let's say, and you only want to do the California clients. Well, you can filter for the California clients, and then you can go ahead and check the little box at the top here and then select them all. So you hit the little checkbox at the top to unselect all your whole list, filter for the California state, and then go ahead and check the checkbox, and boom, it's only going to check the California ones. Click OK, and now you only have a California list. So a little quick way to edit, who you're actually creating the labels for. And then we're going to go over to our match field sections. Now you only need to do this if you don't know what the actual field names are. So for example, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to, I really don't like the fact that Word defaults with a larger paragraph spacing, especially when using smaller labels. So I'm going to select all. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to paragraph, and I'm going to put line spacing at before and after at 0 and the line spacing itself at single. So now I've got a little bit tighter of a grouping. Especially with labels, you want to make sure it's nice and tight because you only have normally 1x4 or 1x3 or something of that nature. So you want to make sure you get a nice tight grouping. So I'm clicking into this label here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and insert a merge field. And these are all the database name fields. Now, if you don't want to use those database name fields, you can go to match fields and match them up, and you can then write like first name or last name or whatever, and it can be nice and pretty for you. My field names are pretty well laid out. I can see that that's the first name, that's the last name, that's the city, the state, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and insert first name. I'm going to press the space, which takes it as a literal character. I'm going to insert the last name, and then I'm going to return because I want a new line. I'm going to go ahead and insert the company name. Because this is an employee, we don't have company names, excuse me. So we're going to go ahead and insert the city. We're going to press comma, again, literal character, space. We're going to go ahead and insert the state. Then we're going to go ahead and insert the zip code. And I don't need any of the other fields. I forgot the most important part, the street address. So we'll go click up to here, press enter, and we'll say street 1. And I like to put the street 2 part on its own line, so I'll press enter one more time and put street 2. And there you go. And so now if you look, it's going to go through the first record right here and lay it out like this. Then it's going to go next record. But you're going to notice that the next record afterwards has nothing on it. So it'd just be basically blank, which we don't want, right? So until we get to the new page, and the next page the record would be up here. So you obviously want to print a sheet of labels. You don't want to print one on each sheet. So we're going to go up here and we're going to say update labels, and you're going to see it pre-fills all that extra information in. And if you guys have a relatively small list, what I recommend that you guys do before you finish your merge is just simply go ahead and hit the preview results button here. And what that's going to basically do is it's going to act like it's going to run through the list, and it's only going to show you the first sheet. So it's just going to give you a good idea of what it's doing. So if you guys do have a larger data set, you won't have to worry about too much because it is only translating the first sheet. So we go and look here, boom, we got it going on, perfect, it looks great. For some reason my zip codes are not coming out. So we'll go back into here and we'll look, and it looks like I forgot to put the zip code. So we'll press the space button, we'll go to insert and go to zip code again, and boom, and we'll hit the update labels one more time to update the rest of the fields. Because remember, we only work in this upper left, and you can see that it added that dynamic field to the rest. So we can hit the preview results, and you're going to see, boom, it's all updated for us. We don't have to do anything else. And now we can go to finish and merge. Now, you can print it right off from here, so you can hit the print document, so it's going to print right off. Or if you want to save this this mail merge for later on, you can go into the edit individual documents, and you can say merge records all, and we can say okay. And it's actually going to create a whole brand new document, and it's going to call it label 1, and then you're going to see that you have all the pages for that. So that the reason why I like to do it this way is I like to save lists later on for whatever reason. I also like to know how many label sheets I have to put into the actual printer itself. So if I scroll down to the bottom, I can see that I have page 4 of 4. So I know that I only need 4 pages of labels inside the printer. So now I can go ahead and save this for later, and I can go to, throw it on the desktop or something and call it, labels for employees 8160, so I know that's what the template I use. And boom, and now we have it into our system here. Now, the same way I did it for the database, you can do it for a CSV file or whatever. So when you go into your mailings, we'll flip back over to the blank document here. So if we cancel out of here and we do a new document, and you were to go into mailings, and you were to go into start mail merge, and you were to use, oh, there it goes, labels. And you can go ahead and say which label template we're using, the 8160. Like I said, it remembers what you used. And you go to select recipients, and you can say, oh, come on, use an existing list. And instead of using an Odbc connection like I did, what you can do is you can flip the little connection down here, and it actually tells you all data sources. So you can see that right there is a list of XLS. So if you have an Excel sheet or a CSV file or whatever, you can browse to that file over here. I chose to use a database connection, and that's just my particular preference. But you guys can use anything you want, and the process is exactly the same. The only difference is that you're pulling it from a different source. So once this is done, I can go ahead and hit up the print button, and boom, it's done. Just make sure that you actually finish and merge before you actually do any of the printing, because if you don't, it's just going to print the first page for you. So make sure you do that finish and merge, and then after that, you can go ahead and do whatever you need with the document. So if you want to print it off and not have to worry about saving it, you can do that, or you can hit the edit individual documents, like I said, which will create a brand new document with the entire merge inside of it, and you can save it, or you can fix up, maybe you have some messed up addresses you need to fix off or whatever. You can go ahead and do that right then and there, because now it's nothing but a Word document. You just simply use the mail merge function, so you don't have to type that Word document out. Well, hopefully this was helpful for you guys. If you guys have any further questions, just give us a holler, and make sure you hit that subscribe button, the thumbs up button, and all the other buttons that are on this YouTube video, whether they're on the bottom, the left, the right, wherever YouTube decided to put them this week. So just I hope you have a wonderful day, and hopefully this is helpful for you, and see you next video. Bye-bye.